Here he comes, Banana Slammer. It's Donkey Kong. You know, I covered Mario, I covered Zelda, Metroid, a lot of classic Nintendo franchises. But you can argue, without this dude, these guys wouldn't even see the light of day. And just to quickly get you up to speed, this video was originally recorded in late June 2022 after my barber massacred my face and they shaved the whole thing off. So that's why I look very different for this video. Hopefully by the time I get to the second Donkey Kong video or the Ratchet & Clank video, I'll look relatively normal again. And to think Nintendo was just trying to finally break into international markets and replicate the success of Pac-Man, since in the early 80s, that was the game to beat. They tried before a couple of times, the last attempt being Radar Scope, a space shooter, but that failed to catch the eye of the public and was a commercial failure. Actually, now that I think about it, it's kind of an interesting question, isn't it? Could you get away with saying that Radar Scope is more significant than Donkey Kong, since without Radar Scope failing, Nintendo would have never greenlit Donkey Kong in the first place? Huh? A real chicken or the egg scenario. God, I missed the beard already. From what I gathered, it's the first game Shigeru Miyamoto ever designed and directed, as he was only an artist for Nintendo beforehand, creating art for the 1979 Sheriff. You know, that one really fucking annoying assist trophy in Smash Brothers, and he also made art for Radar Scope. That's twice I mentioned Radar Scope. Watch me, I'm gonna end up reviewing Radar Scope in this Donkey Kong marathon, I can feel it in my bones. Miyamoto would also create the key art and sprite work for Donkey Kong as well, and whew, damn, Mario's got quite the cake, holy fuck. In the official arcade art though, I don't know, like I know it's partly Popeye inspired, but Mario's design sort of elicits a racist uncle energy. But Miyamoto seriously did a deep, contemplative stare at this sketch of a gorilla he made, looked at it really hard and just said, so yeah, his first name is Donkey. I don't know, I've read conflicting reports on how Miyamoto eventually settled on Donkey Kong for the name, a mistranslation, a faulty fax machine. But apparently Miyamoto just wanted to convey the image of a stubborn, stupid ape, saw the word donkey and said, okay, that is good enough, that will suffice. Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong in the ColecoVision. Mario looks like a porn star here. Donkey Kong in the Intellivision. What the fuck? Okay, no. This Mario looks like a porn star. Even got an armband that says, Donkey Kong on the Atari 26. Christ alive, this one's not even close. Who are these guys? Why is Mario a clown? And this is just on official releases too, because Donkey Kong, holy shit, would be the prime target for copycats and bootlegs throughout the next few years. Killer Gorilla, Congo Bongo, Crazy Kong, Wally Kong, King Kong. No, really, they just fucking called it King Kong. I'm pretty sure some of you who watch the Angry Video Game Nerd are also aware of the Donkey Kong doll with the weird fingers.
Hey, you. Fuck you.
He also can't fall more than his body height or else he just dies. Oh, what a bitch. I can do that just fine. Fuck. Your goal, besides racking up a high enough score to put your initials in, I am John Pooh-ass, you're trying to rescue your girlfriend from the clutches of Donkey Kong, who sits high atop of the stage, and your ass has got to climb all the way up to the top to finish the level. As the game makes clear from the get-go, how high can you get? Very. Donkey Kong Jr. sees you in control of the titular character as Daddy has been captured and jailed by Mario. Dude gets one game, he is already the villain in the next one, what the fuck? There's also two Marios here. Is one of them supposed to be Luigi, or can this supposed carpenter fucking duplicate himself on command? You fascinate me, Mario Jumpman. I also don't think I've ever played a game before where the first sound you hear is someone quietly ripping ass. Apparently Mario's learned how to take a fall since the last game, so good for him, but he gets fucking rocked by Donkey Kong so hard that by the next game, Mario's nowhere to be seen. Donkey Kong 3, starring Stanley the Bugman. Who? And just like Mario 2, Stanley can't take a hit. He gets touched once and he's down for the count. The insects just fucking ate the man alive. What the hell? That's such a cruel fate. Maybe this is why Stanley only showed up for one game. More levels, more obstacles, and more Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong 94 is the original Donkey Kong with added bells and whistles and a shitload of stages. I have to stress that again. I think it's a total of 101. That sounds like a lot, and it is, but most stages are bite-sized challenges that shouldn't take you more than a minute or so to clear. He can fall farther distances before he loses a life. He can grab a hammer and then, toss it up and then grab it again when you need to use it in a higher area. And like an absolute show-off, he can do a combination of handstand jumps, backflips, and other means of acrobatics that I'm sure makes Donkey Kong go,
oh shit.
Mario's got the skills, but you still don't want to get overzealous, unless you want to try and make last second saves with the trampoline here, holy shit, or somehow manage to tap into Ultra Instinct and do bullshit like this. It's one part entertainment, but it also serves as a tutorial for extra things Mario can do to help complete the coming stages, like performing the added jumps or how you can bounce barrels harmlessly off of your feet, or being able to survive lava flow. Awesome.
So that was a fucking lie.
Seriously, I love this game. I've been playing this since middle school, and I'll tell you, middle school John wasn't that big on platformers. He was also kind of a fucking idiot. So try and get it on the eShop when you can, before that whole store closes down for good. Otherwise, you'll have to emulate it or spend an exuberant price on an original copy from a stingy Too Many Games vendor. Hi, Too Many Games. Thanks for letting me host another panel. I love you. Firstly, I want to give a humongous shout out to Farian. He designed the avatar I've been using since June of last year, but now for the foreseeable future anyway, he's also going to be designing thumbnails for future Versus videos. And judging by this video, I mean, he does fucking fantastic work. Show him some love and support, give him a follow on his Twitter page, and thank you again so much. I cannot wait to work with you again in the future. The hockey game is nothing amazing, but check out the circus game. I guess we now know what Mario did with Donkey Kong outside the first game, making the guy juggle pineapples on a barrel under a constant threat of bodily harm. What the hell is this face that Mario's rocking here? Is that extra bit of skin under his mustache his cheek? Got a fucking bloodhound face going on there. There was also Donkey Kong Jr. Math, an educational spin on Donkey Kong Jr. where you solve math equations to win, and now you know why I didn't originally cover it during the first Donkey Kong video. Moving on. Anyway, Donkey Kong for a new generation. He's rocking a red tie now, a Jimmy Neutron hairpiece, and some seriously intense flesh brows. I know Rare went to the zoo to study gorilla anatomy for the redesign, but even gorillas gotta look at this shit and go, what? Gorillas can't fucking speak. But he was also getting a new buddy, and no, it wasn't Donkey Kong Jr., you naive fool. It was a new monkey in town, Diddy Kong. Although he was originally planned to be Donkey Kong Jr. early in development, but Nintendo didn't like the radically different design they had in mind and told Rare, better just make him a new character. And so they did, with Donkey Kong Jr. vanishing into the ethereal plane after I can only assume getting into a car accident after his stint in Super Mario Kart. With that in mind, I won't spend too much on the game's graphics, since clearly they are a product of their time. Some assets have aged better than others. The main characters and villains still look great. I like these guys in DKC3 that are constantly slipping on the ice like. But the bears in the same game, they look rough. The clownfish, the lips go right through their fucking nose. What the shit is that about? The sperm ropes in DKC2, need I say more? And you play it on a CRT if you want to get the best experience, I think. These games are all easily available on current consoles and such, but nothing beats whipping out the old Super Nintendo, getting that metric ton television, and pretending you're back to a time before you learn what bills were. That said, I did emulate my ventures through these games for this video, as I no longer have any physical Donkey Kong Country games for my Super Nintendo. I have no fucking clue where they went. Oh, but I still have Star Trek Starfleet Academy and Bulls vs. Blazers in the NBA playoffs. Who makes a sports game where there's only 2 teams? What kind of shit is that? They fucking put anything on a card just to make a quick buck back then. Donkey Kong's massive banana hoard has been suddenly stolen by the Kremlin, and I'm not talking Soviet government agents here. I'm talking a species of reptiles led by one King K. Rool, who I presume really likes bananas and wanted to have a major share in the banana stock exchange. Your guess is as good as mine. It's got a pretty colorful bunch of goons too. And Clump has bitch tits. Look at those things. Some enemies are not even Kremlins though. You got these dead-eyed beavers, these vultures that throw shit at you. I love every bonus room that has you smack into one of these things upon re-entering the level. The devs probably got a thing against birds or some other shit. Fuck! He's also joined by his pal Diddy Kong, who, fun fact, according to the manual, was placed in charge of guarding DK's banana hoard, but the Kremlins were like, fuck them kids, and stuffed his ass inside a barrel and pushed him to the side. Game hasn't even started properly, and Diddy's already getting the junior special. I think my favorite thing from the manual was the cranky tidbits. He must have been bitter about losing his phonograph because he pops up in a lot of pages talking mad shit. Though he's got a good point about the note pages though. I never use them anyway. I don't mind Winky the Frog. Yeah, his name is Winky. I love his high jumps and he can easily take care of things like the dreaded bees. Like my issue with Rambi, his hitbox is a little suspect. Every time I get ready to jump on an enemy or do basic platforming, I'm hoping my ass doesn't just slip through shit or just miss completely. This is the only game he makes an appearance in, so maybe the dude in the VHS tape was right.
We got Winky the Frog. He's bad.
You start the game as Donkey Kong, but just a few inches to the right of the screen is your first DK barrel, which always houses the Kong you currently don't have. If you have both Kongs available, you can switch between them with the select button, where you will then inevitably stick with Diddy for the rest of the game and never switch back to Donkey Kong because Diddy is just a hands down better character. Every stage also has a set of letters that spell Kong if you find them, or if you fuck up, Con, Cog, Og. Unguard's bonus stage made me uncomfortable. There are no enemies in any of these bonus stages, it should be said, but that didn't stop me from feeling unnerved in Unguard stage anyway. The red ocean in the background, along with the lack of anything outside of tokens to collect, was enough to make me go, oh God, where the hell am I? Well, hell, actually, now that I say it out loud. And that's your basic gist of the game. Most levels are straightforward enough. You go left to right, you reach the end, and that's it. But some levels will have you swim underwater. Can't really attack anything like this since I'm guessing both Kongs are using every bit of willpower to hold their breath indefinitely. Life is full of compromise and such. But this is where Unguard really shines, like I said. Just give these punks a good bitch. Poison Pond, the last of the water levels, should also give you a good idea on how difficulty scales within level themes. This place sucks if you don't know the secret locations of Unguard. I'm serious, scour the area immediately and find this dude because this stage is not only infested with these spinning wheels, it also has this one section where a bunch of these piranhas that seem so erratic. Not to mention, we're swimming in toxic God knows what. This is definitely going to come back to bite the guys in their later years. There are 2 levels where you're even on a minecart, testing your reflexes as you jump over obstacles, enemies, and bottomless pits alike. It's not so bad until you just... Yeah, no, but both of them are relatively harmless. The track levels, more specifically the last one, Tanked Up Trouble, gave me all the shit as a kid. You get a taste of the stage earlier with Trick Track, that's pretty fun to say. Every stage outside of the swimming levels have at least one, and it's a scavenger hunt, high and low, forward and back to find every single one, and you gotta have an eagle eye to spot some of these motherfuckers. I bet you didn't even notice that one that was there until I just picked it up. This game in particular loves to hide them inside hidden walls to the point of obnoxiousness, and you can only discover them by throwing barrels at them or launching headfirst into a wall and get a concussion, or you can use Rambi to break open the path. Compared to the other 2 games though, DKC1 is the only one where the ending isn't really affected by your completion total. At most you'll get some congratulatory message from Cranky, but you know, fuck him. So if you don't want to find everything, you don't really need to. No matter what you do, Donkey Kong will get his bananas back once he thrashes King K. Rool for good. He's a fun boss too. I like jumping in sync with him towards the second half because I'm a douchebag. King K. Rool is bopped in the head and put in his place. DK gets his bananas back. No sign of Browning to be seen. These are some magical fucking bananas. But now we head into Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest, which I've misread as Diddy Kong's Quest for an embarrassingly long time. As revenge for last time, Captain K. Rool and his Kremlins have kidnapped Donkey Kong and taken him hostage, but you ain't gonna find him immediately in a DK barrel this time. He's out of the picture for the whole game here, leaving Diddy to team up with his girlfriend Dixie Kong, who can use her long hair that I only just now realized looks like a banana. God, I'm dense. And starting in this game, you can even toss your buddy like a projectile, which I wouldn't recommend doing on certain enemies. Fuck! Got new animal friends in the form of Rattly, who I think is kind of a downgrade from Winky if I'm being real. He's got the jumping height, and I'm sure he's got a great personality. But if you thought Winky's hitbox was weird, Rattly's gonna make you think. Fuck! Squawks, though, as I said, got a complete rework. He's cool until you gotta do those fucking Bramble stages with the guy. He's got the worst section in the final secret level Animal Antics, where you gotta avoid the Bramble with wind pushing you in every direction. Fucking sucks. The race against this jerk is also a pain in the ass. Oh, get fucked, idiot! I managed to skip the trigger! Good shit. You gotta comb everything to find every bonus, on top of having to complete the bonus for it to even count. To say nothing of the DK coins, which are not needed to reach the true ending, but are required to reach the full 102% for your save file. I wonder how high this number will get at the tail end of this series. Some of these are just plain mean to find. You gotta think outside the box for a good chunk of them already, but there's also a select few that are inside bonus rooms. Dick move, guys. And there's 2 that are placed in the end level roulette, so if you don't time it right, you gotta do the whole stage over to get another shot. Dick move, guys. I collect these for myself. Not this guy. Yeah, eat shit, Mario, Yoshi, Sonic, and Earthworm Jim. What the fuck? I get Sonic, but what did Earthworm Jim do to deserve the no hopers remark? Oh, okay, that makes sense. Both DK and Diddy Kong have been kidnapped once again by K. Rool, or Baron K. Rulenstein. I don't get the name changes. King K. Rool, Captain K. Rool, Baron K. Rulenstein. Does he have multiple personalities? Is that what's happening here? I like the idea that outside of his villainous shenanigans, he apparently has a wife who might give him shit later for using her pots and pans to create this chaos robot that acts as the central antagonist for most of the game. This is how K. Rool escapes for the weekend, because you know Monday to Friday he's stuck in a regular ass 9 to 5 with a dead-end marriage. So Dixie is left to fend off the Kremlins with nothing but her golden locks and her baby but no less huge cousin Kitty Kong, who kind of sounds like Tom the cat when he loses a life. I'm gonna admit though, I got a little worried when I started a new file and I saw all those empty slots. Oh Jesus, what are they making me collect this time? Bonus rooms, DK coins, which are now mandatory to reach the ending this time. Trinkets for these bears, these gears from this game's Lost World, these banana birds. Yeah, banana birds. Look at this thing. Look at their mom. It's a banana. That's also a bird. Banana bird. Maybe I should lay off this shit. There are a few snags, sure. The boss fights were a step down from DKC2, I felt. Now, some of those guys went on a little long. I'm looking at you, Cudgel. Oh, fuck off. Still, these guys kept me engaged, and they were much better than anything DKC1 offered outside of King K. Rool himself. I didn't even find any guys in this game to be very memorable outside of the snowman who blows up after he jazzed hand too hard. Poisonous Pipeline, a swimming level with your controls reversed. They're a little bloated with collectibles, but that does not stop the games from being a bunch of fun. I'm just glad I can finally rest from collecting shit. It's kind of difficult to make out what's what. This game was impossible for me to play with the original black and white graphics. It just wasn't pleasant to the eyes, and I don't know how the hell legacy players managed to deal with this on original hardware when the backlit screen wasn't even an option. I mean, you work with what you got, and I haven't forgotten the days where I would stand next to a lamp just to see things worth a damn on my old Game Boy. Believing that people only like Donkey Kong Country for its fancy graphics and music, and maybe he's got an argument there, Cranky Kong bets that DK and Diddy can't replicate their feats on the Game Boy. Donkey and Diddy Kong are up to the challenge, if anything just to get Cranky to shut the fuck up, even going as far as letting the Kremlin steal their banana horde again to give them the proper motivation. So with their bananas once again scattered, Donkey and Diddy Kong travel across the land to prove Cranky wrong and fuck up King K. Rool in his penthouse apartment. I'm serious, the final boss of this game is King K. Rool in his apartment complex. You know, the jungle and snow levels are really the only things both games share, and they play about the same as before. These haven't changed much besides the inclusion of the flying pig enemies. Alright then. Hey everyone, this is John from the future. Now that I'm looking back at my footage during editing, this game shares a lot more than just the jungle and snow levels in retrospect. I don't know why I limited to those two, but the caverns, the Aztec stages, and the water levels, they're almost ripped wholesale as well. I guess it was just one of those things that slipped my mind during note-taking, and I'll try not to make it a thing to record Donkey Kong Land games in the wee hours of the morning. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled video. But the Gangplank Galleon Pirate theme that you might be more familiar with in Donkey Kong Country 2, that actually started with this game, as Donkey Kong Land predates DKC 2 by a few months. You got a whole world taking place high in the clouds, and the last world takes place in a regular-ass metropolitan area. Imagine playing a game where you go through jungles, dark caverns, mystic cloudscapes, and Aztec ruins, and the final area is in fucking Jersey. And there are obvious limitations, like not having Donkey and Diddy visible on the screen simultaneously. I laughed when I broke my first DK barrel to get my buddy. Instead of tagging along behind you, they just fucking take off like they got a rocket up their ass. Hell, the final world, Big Ape City, I really like this one. Let's put the Kongs in a city landscape and have them jump on buildings, steel girders, and a bunch of other mechanical structures that in a way pays respect to both Donkey Kong Country and classic Donkey Kong. It even has a steel crucifix. What the fuck? And assuming you're not emulating this or using the save point feature on like the 3DS, you can only save the game by collecting all the Kong letters on a stage, and why did they do that? It's a handheld game, you should be able to save whenever you want. The final battle against King K. Rool is somewhat similar to his encounter from before, but in a neat twist, he has what I could only describe as a literal jump scare. I'm getting ready to jump on his noggin like before, right? And this motherfucker suddenly decides to spring up in the air and scare the shit out of me. That sucked, but it did get a laugh out of me. You know what, looking back, I think I can say the first Donkey Kong Land is simultaneously my favorite and least favorite game of the trilogy. This will hopefully make more sense later in the video, give me some time. And DK Land 3, maybe it was because by 1997, this game's release year, Rare wanted to put all their attention on the Nintendo 64 because DK Land 3 is very easy. There's even a bonus room that, I'm not kidding here, solves the puzzle for you. Damn. Audio quality also took a hit, unsurprisingly, but they did add a bunch of new samples for a lot of things. The Kongs have voice samples now. All the Kremlins don't share the same like before. They all have something unique now. Though fuck whoever decided to give the sniper in DKC 3 a voice, because that laugh, god damn it, that shit wore thin in less than 10 seconds for me. Fuck that noise. And a lot of compositions are damn good and catchy, one of my favorites being Rock Phase Rumble. It doesn't rock the same atmosphere as Evelyn Fisher's soundtrack, and in some cases that is to the port's detriment. David Wise's new track for the tree levels completely saps all the fucking tension out of the one level where you're being chased by a menacing Saul. Just for comparison's sake, let's give it a listen. I'm gonna fucking die. They also went and added a bunch of minigames too that I didn't play much of, to be up front. A lot of them didn't hold my attention for more than a couple of rounds. The rhythm game with Candy was okay. I read her high score initials as cock initially. I was tired. Cranky's Dojo was fun for a bit. Look, once you do Undertale Genocide, nothing can really hurt you anymore. I know what I said. The controls are pretty much one-to-one. There was no level that was really compromised or changed dramatically. In fact, in DKC 1's case, they made it a little better, except for the warp barrel sequence, because I thought I was going through an acid overdose. What the fuck am I looking at here? In DKC 2 and 3, they even added a new boss altogether, and they look like shit. They don't quite match the original aesthetic, so they come off more as photoshopped CGI models. The fights are interesting, but god, are they ugly. They also changed how the bears looked in DKC 3, and look, I know I said they weren't that pleasing originally, But this ain't what I would call an improvement. Look at this Captain Crunch looking motherfucker. Donkey Kong. Did he get a debut in 3D? In fact, Donkey Kong 64 was bundled with the expansion pack when it first released, so that consumers could, actually play the game, lest they get a bunch of angry parents after the holidays. Afterwards, the expansion pack was only needed for like 2 other games, I think, Zelda Majora's Mask and Perfect Dark, and that was another game developed by Rare. And I like to think this is because of a secret mandate from Nintendo. Like, look, don't make the game too large to keep needing the expansion pack, because if we gotta keep producing these things, those manufacturing costs are coming out of your fucking paycheck. Commercials, radio spots, billboards, and Dr. Pepper promotion. That seems random. To win the game, drink Dr. Pepper. This is the most valuable tip you'll receive for Donkey Kong 64. It allows you to win before you actually play it. Wait a minute. Why would kids do that? They already bought the fucking game, or more likely their parents already bought the game. Why wouldn't they want to play it? Or were they insinuating that Dr. Pepper was a performance-enhancing drug? Can they say that? Is that legal? You guys were wondering if I was gonna go out of my way to fully complete Donkey Kong 64, because I can only assume the game isn't very interesting outside of that? I didn't know how to absorb that. Is this game only notable for what's required for 100% completion? Is it perfectly playable when you're not getting everything? Given my prior history with being burned by 100% completion, is it even worth fully completing Donkey Kong 64?
No.
No.
Nope.
No.
No.
Not at all.
Why am I here?
No.
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 Yes. Oh wait, no. I mean no.
Oh, fuck me. Work smarter, not harder. Emulate it. And who knows, maybe with the help of cleaner graphics, more stability, the occasional save state to help save time, maybe I'll enjoy this. Maybe it won't be so bad. But just in case. Okay, here we go. Donkey Kong 64. A drink to celebrate the occasion. God help me. The game opens with the DK rap. This was something, believe it or not, I was first exposed to in Super Smash Bros. Melee. They remixed it there for one of DK's stages, and I remember back then I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And some lyrics were just incomprehensible noise.
What?
Well, Donkey and Diddy Kong were back, but the rest were brand new faces. Tiny Kong, the sassy girl who could shrink in size and float for a bit. Lanky Kong, the orangutan with stretchy arms and terrible gas problems. And Chunky Kong, the strong one, which I find out because Donkey Kong is described as being stronger than before, but apparently not strong enough. Can't even pull a basic ass lever without drinking a steroid cocktail from Cranky here. So did they add a whole other Kong to make up for DK's apparent lack of strength? You know, I always thought that Donkey Kong Island being in the shape of Donkey Kong's head was something that started in this game. And would you live in an island that was in the shape of your head? There's something very Twilight Zone about that. But when I go back and look at the island's original look in Donkey Kong Country, no, it's also shaped like his face there, but I don't think it's as obvious, but still kind of makes me feel stupid not realizing it until now. They keep him out of the camera's view for a bit to play up the mystique, giving him this whole Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget vibe, and he's such a dick to his goons too. King K. Rool ain't messing around. His minions are still as incompetent as before, but the man himself is pretty intense. I like this iteration of the guy, and I'm glad he's gone back to his king attire instead of whatever the hell this phase was. But somebody please get my man some fucking Clear Eye for his one eyeball. That shit is just out there. It's like one half of his face is normal and the other is going through a coke-induced rage. And so after learning some of the basics thanks to Cranky, who's taken an interest in the sciences for some reason, we all have our hobbies, especially after your fucking wife passes away. Yeah, this took me by surprise. Wrinkly Kong died in between this game and DKC3, and I'm like, well, damn, she still helps us as a ghostly apparition, but that was sudden, and I sort of feel bad for Cranky because he was already an asshole, but now he's an asshole who's all alone even in the quietest hours of his day, and a rolling maneuver that you can spam to go a little faster. Although I ended up not doing that, especially for Donkey Kong, because every time he rolls, he sounds like he's taking a shit. You also got some basic 3-hit combos whenever you need to wipe out some goons, on the off chance you don't feel like using your handy orange grenades or whipping out your fucking piece. Yeah, Donkey Kong and the others just have guns in this game. The G-rated guns. They don't fire bullets, but rather coconuts, peanuts, pineapples, and such. But there's just something funny seeing DK whip out a shotgun and going, yeah. You get all these by visiting Funky Kong, no longer a free spirit who surfs the skies or builds boats. The dude runs a fucking armory now, and he's dressed for war. I mean, he's not wrong, it's literally a life or death situation, but it pains me to see what war does to even the coolest of dudes.
War is hell.
You can even hold the Z button down to slow the cursor speed, which is a godsend when you're playing this on emulator or virtual console, because analog movement can be so sensitive on modern hardware. Even today, I still recall the dread of having to complete the shooting gallery games in Zelda with virtual console analoging. Well, it makes me want to drink. Candy Kong, my God. Okay, so she was already like the fan service Kong, but they really gave her the pop idol treatment for this game. I shouldn't be terribly shocked. These are the same people that gave us Sunflower a huge pair of knockers. It's just slowly but surely someone's kinks are becoming less and less subtle. And listen, if you want to masturbate to a fictional monkey, you do you. I don't care. It's just, keep that shit to yourself. DK gets the bongo, so it's this game I complain for that lame-ass final smash and brawl. All right. I'm surprised they didn't give Tiny the guitar, given that she's the Dixie replacement. Probably didn't want to make it too obvious. I don't mind Diddy rocking out with it, but I think he should have kept his boombox in DKC too. It just seems more up his alley. Or did Cranky take it for the DK rap? What a prick. Chunky gets the triangle. Who did he piss off? You know what though? Don't count the triangle out. People can do some mad shit on that tiny thing with enough dedication. I've seen it. Lanky gets the trombone. I got no punchline for that. And the script was written before I learned that trombone simulator was a thing. Every Kong has 5 golden bananas dedicated to them in every world, and since the quota isn't very high for entering new worlds, this gives you a healthy degree of freedom on what golden bananas you can collect just for the sake of moving on. But I'm not just moving on, aren't I? Oh man, look at how expansive the underwater area is. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for some large ass fish to suddenly pop up and swallow me whole, but it never happened. In fact, besides hosting one of the next levels, I don't think you do anything underwater. I guess I'm just taken aback. They give the island so much underwater real estate and almost nothing is done with it. I mean, as someone who hates dark underwaters in video games, I'm grateful? I don't know anymore. Despite having the classic bananas though, Donkey Kong 64 doesn't have a traditional life system. You can die as many times as you want and keep going as long as you got the time and the willpower. Quitting the game is hilarious though because it shows King K. Rool getting ready to nuke the island, which he can now do freely because your ass decided to stop playing the game. That's so mean-spirited, but it's a logical conclusion. Bananas are also needed to reach the major boss of a world. You gotta feed this hippo enough of them so that his fat ass weighs more than his pig friend, letting him unlock the door to the boss. The pig and hippo got nipple rings. I'm beginning to think the folks behind Rare have personal DeviantArt pages, if you know what I mean. But before that, I did notice that Diddy Kong says that he can collect red bananas. What do you mean by that? Can bananas even be red? Oh, it turns out they can. A favorite in Central America as a form of aphrodisiac juice. Diddy's got the horny bananas. This chimp fucks. First off, this is where you unlock Tiny and Lanky Kong. Yeah, it really doesn't take you long to rescue the other Kongs. I was thinking this is going to be a tougher endeavor, but they really don't ask much to rescue these guys. Can you spell the word Kong? There you go. You just rescue Tiny. Lanky doesn't ask for much either. As soon as you do that, though, now their collectibles are available, and now the world was covered in bananas, coins, and balloons in all flavors. It's all coming together now. I'm starting to see the bigger picture, and every Kong gets something special, and your mileage may vary on how interesting, fun, or infuriating they might be. Donkey Kong is nothing too special. He just gets temporary invincibility. Temporary invincibility not being too special. What the fuck did I just say? Lanky can inflate himself with air, I hope. God, so many of you mentioned the second race against the beetle and the foot race against this rabbit. I mean, yeah, they're precise, especially the rabbit. I think I only won this race because his ass got stuck behind an enemy for just long enough. I won by a hair. Eat shit, you jerk. You take off to the sky with your jetpack that miraculously does not immediately combust considering that it's made of wood. And you can do a few things with this. You can shoot hard to reach switches with your guns. You can fly through rings, as you do, or even light candles with the jet exhaust. Pretty neat. It controls like shit. The owl race probably taking the cake. You just gotta fly through rings in a given time. That shouldn't be hard to comprehend, but it is mainly because the challenge comes from fighting the jetpack's wide-ass turning and the hilariously wacky hitboxes. What the fuck? Why didn't that count? I went through that bitch. How didn't that count? When I also discovered that I can hold my altitude in place with the Z button, that made things a lot better for turning especially, but I didn't find that out for myself until the end of the game. I don't know. Did Cranky say I could do that when I first got this? I need to look back at the footage. Oh fuck, he did. I'm just blind. Clearly I'm not drinking enough of this shit. Once you get enough banana medals, Cranky lets you play Jetpack. Now this was one of the first games ever created by Rare, back when they were known as Ultimate Play the Game. God, that is a deliciously 80s name. And this game isn't so bad. I appreciate the history lesson, but it's an early 80s console game originally made for the ZX Spectrum, BBC Micro, and the VIC-20, VIC-20. I think 2 of these are made up. The banana medals for getting 75 bananas with each Kong. Blueprints that you give to this weasel who can help you make the final stage easier depending on how many you collect. The banana fairies, guess you can consider these the follow to the banana birds if they were humanoid and they had big boobs. Rare's got a titty fetish for both guys and girls, so I welcome the inclusiveness. You gotta take a picture of these guys for them to be considered collected though. They give you more crystal coconuts to use on special skills as you collect more of them, so it's worth the hassle. It's just timing the perfect shot can be a little tricky. As long as some part of them is inside the circle though, it should be fine. Whatever. This is how most of your time collecting shit in this game goes. You're playing as one Kong. You get to a spot where another Kong is needed to progress. Okay, you go back. You switch to that Kong. You go and open the way. You collect the goodies you find. But oh, fuck, look at that. There's another collectible here for that Kong that couldn't reach this pathway in the first place. So now you got to make your way back to the tag barrel, switch to the right Kong, retrace the steps that you just did with the other Kong to get that one measly banana or blueprint balloon, whatever the fuck it is. Ugh. These things can wind up in the most out of sight, out of mind locations, high and low, and Donkey Kong 64 doesn't have the best draw distance when it comes to certain objects. You won't even see these fucking things until you get close enough to them. And this caused my fair share of retracing my steps, and when I saw I was 10 bananas off the max, I was like, it's a fucking balloon. I know it's a fucking balloon. I also ran into my only glitch, where this grinder is supposed to spin so you can blow it up with steel drums and get the banana behind it, but for some reason, it just stopped spinning. Made it impossible to complete, and I had to reset to make it work again. And I looked it up. This is a known bug, but it's the only one I ran into, so at least the game is stable when you're not intentionally doing moon jumps and other shit that I've seen speedrunners do. Look at them go. Besides that, I don't remember anything else. I couldn't tell you why. Man, why couldn't every world be like this? It was a lot of fun. At least this obnoxious journey had a silver lining, but the damage was already done. Slot reels, mine carts, spinning turtles, rescuing banana fairies from clap traps, and I got a lot of these killed looking back. I'm so sorry, ladies. I'm not sure. I think understanding the full context of the original release is important, but I also believe if there's a better way of playing the game, which I know in of itself is subjective, then just go for that option. You don't gotta do what I did, where I spent a long ass time talking about an experience you didn't fully enjoy for the sake of content and a paycheck. Stay in school, kids. Oh, God. Over 25 hours was my final... Donkey Kong? Well, actually, he became my least used Kong after I got the other, so hey, some things never change, am I right? I guess if you want to do that moon jump shit, that's a quality trait. Lanky, I'll be honest, didn't have much going for me. I like this goofy fucking walking animation, and whenever he jumps, he says, hoopla. Hoopla. And that just reminds me of SpongeBob. Hoopla! Oh shit, right, this game has multiplayer, doesn't it? I wasn't even going to consider this until I was reminded that Parsec was a thing. I think Rare figured we got something good going with GoldenEye, so let's give the Kong family some guns and watch them go apeshit. A Planet of the Apes that you can play. Good thing Cranky didn't think of this, otherwise Donkey Kong might have been a very different game. You know, this ain't a bad time. It's standard 4-player free-for-all stuff. You can shoot up in different areas or go head-to-head in battle arenas. And as I found out, really brings the inner monkey out of you.
Murder. My bananas.
Oh, God!
I mean, you hate to see them like this, Jim.
Parry that shit, you fucking casual. What is this?
That's the review. That's it. I don't know how to cap this video off. Well, actually, now that I think about it. Here we go. So I'm finally done reviewing this game. It makes this one look fucking tame. Put your hands together if you wanna slap this fucking jerk for all this crap. TK. Donkey Kong. He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well. This icy maze was utter hell. His coconut gun can fire in spurts, but his shitty aim makes my testes hurt. He's big, faster, and really strong. Oh wait, my bad, that's Donkey Kong. DK. Donkey Kong. DK. Donkey Kong is here. This Kong's got style. So listen up, dudes. She took Dixie's job. And that's just rude. She can float through the air and climb up trees. But every Kong climbs fucking trees. If you choose her, you'll not choose wrong. But she still took a job from Dixie Kong. DK. Donkey Kong. He has no style. He has a quick pace. His hitbox is a fucking disgrace. He can handstand and stretch his arms out, but this rabbit race makes me wanna shout. He fights himself just like a balloon, which means don't Google him, you fucking buffoon. Don't do rich. Walnuts, these nuts, pineapple smells. Your ass is cooked, so I'll see you in hell. Walnuts, peanuts, pineapple smells. Wait, what are these lyrics? It's like a shopping list. And what do they mean? Pineapple smells. Pineapple is life, bitch. You know, I ended up not drinking as much as I thought I was going to. This is like one of my least drunk reviews I've ever done, huh? It's pretty interesting. I wonder how many people I woke up by screaming those lyrics. That's pretty late in the night. At that year's E3, Reggie Fils-Aimé was surprised fans with Donkey Kong's Return to the Country formula, aptly named Donkey Kong Country Returns, and the folks behind it was Retro Studios of Metroid Prime fame. That was reason enough for me to consider it. I love Retro Studios and I love Metroid Prime. A new Donkey Kong Country was on our way. But then I just sort of forgot about it. And it wasn't until the Donkey Konga Line charity event we did a few years back where I finally got to play it, and well, I wasn't exactly in a rush to play it afterwards. Oh. Wow, that one-shots you? What the fuck? It looked like Donkey Kong Country, it sounded like Donkey Kong Country, but it had what I consider tacked-on motion controls, no matter if you were using the nunchuck combo or just the Wiimote standalone. But I also wasn't in the best state of mind when I was playing this. We were at the tail end of our 24-hour marathon, even though I had a nap earlier. I was still incredibly tired and I wanted to go back to sleep. That's not the case this time. I'm up and ready to go. I don't necessarily think you need the Kremlins to make it a Donkey Kong Country game, but I'll admit it felt like something was missing. None of the Tiki guys command the screen like the Kremlins or their goons did, and the final boss, this guy, the Tikis you previously defeated all come together to power him up, but my ass was rolling when it turned out to be nothing but Nintendo's staple giant head with two hands. That was so lame. Bongo looking motherfucker. Oh wait, shit, that boss used bongos, right? DK had bongos. Maybe that was the gag. Damn. The first DKC had Congo Jungle, Monkey Mines, Vine Valley, Gorilla Glacier, Kremkroc Industries Incorporated, Chimp Caverns, and Gangplank Galleon. This game? Jungle, beach, ruins, cave, forest, cliff, factory, volcano. Not very imaginative. And I don't know why, but Donkey Kong's default face and bonus rooms makes me laugh. Like, what's this supposed to be? Happiness? Sadness? I don't know. Maybe he's just happy to be here. I think it doesn't help that I was playing with the Wiimote and nunchuck controls, and with this playstyle, there's no dedicated run button. Your speed is determined by how far you tilt the analog stick, which I don't find very natural in a 2D platformer, let alone a Donkey Kong Country title. Playing with the Wiimote alone fixes this, since because you only have the D-pad for movement now, they give you a dedicated run button. But now you also gotta shake the whole fucking controller if you want to do the motion shit, and man, I gotta say, this game really didn't need this shit. And then you got the classic roll that you can use to get some major horizontal jumps or combo through ground to enemies like you could before. Fuck! Oh fuck, wait a minute, no you can't. On the opposite side of the spectrum, sometimes the roll wouldn't activate because the game didn't register my movement, and as much as I don't like the motion gimmick, I do love the feeling of doing these rapid fire fisticuffs at the end of boss fights and at goalposts. And you really punch the fucking shit out of these things too, like. It took me until the 5th world for me to collect all the puzzle pieces in one stage in one go, and I don't know what to say. Maybe I should have breathed on more flowers or some other shit, but I hated doing that. I gotta keep slowing down and do that shit. Not that I ended up collecting all the things anyway, so no, I didn't play the Golden Temple level you unlock for getting everything. Look, getting everything in this fucking game has exempt me from fully completing every Donkey Kong game past this. Those are the official rules. No, don't ask me for a source on that. This is the fucking internet. You can buy items from Cranky's shop with these, and besides extra lives, you can also purchase some invincibility potions that guards from a huge number of hits. Even covers Donkey and Diddy in solid gold that immediately reminded me of King Homer. The 3DS version also adds some green balloons that save you from bottomless pits if you have them, and even gives you a shield that lets you survive multiple hits from the minecart and rocket barrel levels. I'm telling you, man, get the 3DS version if you want to play this, and hurry before it's too late. I only spent 20 bucks on mine at Second and Charles. You can too. Don't wait. Store's closing down next year. Then I'm gonna tip my cap to Tropical Freeze, Retro Studios' second entry in their Donkey Kong lineup that I'm glad they got another swing at. But at the same time, I was like, fuck, I'm never getting another Metroid Prime game. You can even see Samus's gunship abandoned in one of the jungle levels. I can read between the lines, you pricks. This was originally released for the Nintendo Wii U back in 2014, but in 2018, it saw a second life on the Nintendo Switch with a brand new funky mode that became Nintendo's mimetic equivalent to featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Oh shit, Dixie Kong's back. Glad she was able to get her job back after... goddamn. I hope the unemployment checks were good at least. They brought the minecart and rocket barrel back, but you can take multiple hits now. While it doesn't mean shit when you fall into a bottomless pit in the minecart, you still have a fighting chance to actually complete the stage and not have to start all over because your fucking hair touched the ceiling. Oh yeah, get fucked, you piece of shit. It's things like that that give me a raging hard on. Yeah, he couldn't swim at all in Returns. Water was just another bottomless pit. He forgot how to swim, I guess, but in Tropical Freeze, he's back in proper form. But now, he needs oxygen to breathe underwater too. What? Why? He could hold his breath indefinitely before. What? Did they consider that too unrealistic? You are sending me on an emotional roller coaster, Retro. Dixie Kong, on the other hand, undoubtedly the MVP. A double jump that transitions into a hover that lasts longer than the one Diddy offers? In a platformer? That's like giving Link a Glock in a Zelda game. I should make note that I decided to play in the game's new Funky mode. Figured if I was going to play one mode from my experience, might as well make it the one everyone jokes about, though I wish Funky didn't peek his head from behind the bushes like a stalker. At first listen, I found the soundtrack more enjoyable than Returns, despite loving the remixes of that game's OST as well, so it's like comparing a score of 90 to an 88 really. I don't think it has the same level of intensity like in the original trilogy, but a lot of the music is just undeniably catchy, and a lot of classic Wise compositions are given new life. They blue ball the fuck out of you if you like Bramble Blast though. It plays at one stage for like 10 seconds before the rocket barrel rears its ugly head and makes you want to choke a cat. A cat that had it coming, I didn't mean you guys. The game is also still pretty tough. Not as tough as Returns, but the game's inherently shorter nature means you'll be running into tougher levels faster than before. And some levels are still a strenuous test of reflexes that can make you do stupid shit. Holy fuck, I don't know how the hell I made that. Or check this ultra instinct shit I managed to pull off in one of the final levels. Jesus fuck, DK's face really says it all here. You have a wider selection of items in the shop that gives you more to work with, most returning from the 3DS version of Returns, like balloons that save you from bottomless pits, and there's even balloons that save you from drowning. But now there's also a buddy barrel you can crack whenever you need extra help. Double D's dick and cock. Don't know why they dedicated 2 barrels to a penis, but I'm here for it. Funky's initials are also FK? Yeah, you know what I'm thinking. Fine Kitty, where the fuck did he go? There's nothing inherently wrong with them, and they're more dynamic than the battles in Returns. They just go on too long. The final 2 encounters being the worst examples. How many times do I gotta hit these guys before they fucking stay down? And why are my Kongs blinking like hazard lights? Somebody help these guys. And it was fun. I got to replay games I loved, experience games I've been meaning to play for a while, and then Donkey Kong 64.